Welcome to the EGC 20k Age of Empires 4 tournament. This is the finals. We are at the fourth part of this saga. Let the battle commence! Boatada, my name's Anuki, if you can believe that. Settling in the west, being put to the French test. They are red, so they said, behind by a whisker. It's their leader, TheMista. The scout doesn't need to do much work early on. We can already see everything is here. Everything a growing village needs. Wood, gold, stone, gold, berries, pork, and water beef. Delicious. Taking the boat to travel the tiny sea, greeting another French tribe. This one diametrically opposed to dressing in red. Their leader is TheViper. It's that treacherous water map, Boulder Bay, which quite possibly is one of the seven hells. I don't know which one or how one might travel between them. Seems like both travel agencies and the Minister of Public Transport and Customer Relations of Hell dropped the ball on that one. But what we do know is that Boulder Bay is first a battle on the water, so docks up fast. Everyone wants to claim that they have the exclusive right to fish. Little do people know how sustainable such fishing is. But the good world news is that they have fish fingers which are made entirely from plants, which just proves magic does exist in this silly old world. Also, I don't feel like I'm contracting a killing and giving blood money to Captain Bird Eyes. That's really marvelous. But coming back to this map, it is interesting. Controlling the water has guaranteed more loss than victory. If you want to take your chances with probability, then lose the water, lose your hooks, and lose your fishing boats. Or maybe it has something to do with who focuses on the land first. Establishing additional town centers faster and controlling the land by dropping castles or getting the upper hand in siege. These are all factors. The water is good, but there is plenty of resources on land to switch over to when the need arises. You can't just neglect building a dock though. That starting dock still supplements your food for as long as the losing player holds it. In turn, that is food for villagers and investing in your land economy. At least once you can no longer fight on the sea. Another thing about this map is that we've witnessed anyway, is very little trade by the player who dominates the ocean. Honestly, I expected more Chamber of Commerce from France on this map, and the times we have seen it, it's been disappointing. Getting a landmark that provides a big trade bonus and then not trading is a waste. It's a crime. You might as well have gone School of Cavalry. Alarm is ringing in the Mister's village. Oh, it's TheViper is showing off their sheep. Such an exhibitionist. Look at all that fish along the coast too. It's making me thirsty. Speaking of which, if you are interested in seeing more Age of Empires 4, then discover the EGC. They will be holding more competitive Age of Empires events on a weekly basis, so a little birdie tells me. You can find the details in some form of video description. Likewise, if you're feeling adventurous, then take a look at Ironcast. We're looking to hold more community events like team-based Civilization Locked Wars, some Total War campaign productions, and all-round just fun. You can join discord.me/Ironcast to jump into the heart of it all and say, hello world! I am here! I am the end. I am the beginning. Winky emoji. There's a Chamber of Commerce for Viper, and the TheMista is also grabbing one too. Ooh, but I'm not getting my hopes up. I've been betrayed before, Grandma. There's always the option for trading on land too, but it's not as rewarding because you don't receive wood. But it shouldn't be an early consideration regardless. Just mining gold directly is far more efficient and you have plenty of gold to mine. Both commanders ordering villagers to construct a wall embedded into the forest. Safety is paramount. Now, the reason why trading at sea can be done slightly earlier, if you are the conqueror of the sea at least, is because by comparison, your trade ships are safer. You're investing in them being safe. They can travel a longer distance in a short amount of time if you can place the dock further away. And that wood you receive from trading to a waterlocked market dock is a scrumptious bonus. The feudal age arrives. Both commanders clock it in at the same time. The TheMista has a scout taking a look around Viper's settlement. Knowing where the docks are is valuable information. Knowing where the boats are fishing, even more so. There's no way out for this scout. They can't run. They can't hide. There's got to be more than two options. Die with honor? See, never have a sheep as an animal companion. They couldn't give a toss whether you live or die. I could be imprisoned abroad and they wouldn't even consider contacting an embassy. No, no, no. If you want an animal companion, try a rat. They are extremely social animals that taste bad. Nobody wants a rat burger. Doesn't matter where you go in the world. And in this world, the Hulks have arrived. Very powerful ships is an understatement. The baby ships nurse off the mothership to become big and economically strong. The financial gains will serve winters to come. Daddy ship arrives from the nest to protect mealtime. It's like a mealtime strategy game. Anywho, got distracted. Of course, plenty of villagers on wood and gold to fuel the Hulk race. I almost forgot what resources were called then. The Viper looking to update their intel, but its walls are us for the TheMista. No way through. Yeah, they stopped there, but ooh, it's just enough distance to see where some fishing is going on. Interesting. The Hulks are engaged in combat. But it's 2 for Viper, 3 for TheMista. That's how it is when you sail on the offensive. You'll always be met with a new ship fresh out the docks. Viper wants to hit the fishing boats, whilst there's only a few attack boats on water. Using the TheMista to hide their ships, and who's calling the attack? It's our little Scouty McScout. If those Red Hulks just move. No, they're going in the wrong direction, firing from the shroud. Ooh, did TheMista notice? And is this ship in the north a distraction ship? Gonna try and lure TheMista away. I'm not sure if it will work. I think TheMista knows. They definitely know now. But we'll lose a fishing ship. It's no big deal. Plenty of fishing ships rest at the bottom of Baldur's Bay. It's not like losing a Hulk. That would be significant. TheMista fights a defender's advantage. They always have the potential to be one Hulk up, no matter how many ships Viper sends. And the repairs are always close by, should any captain desire it. The Viper, though, maintains an attacking presence so that their fishing boats may enjoy peace of mind, and they're smart about attacking too. They know there'll probably always be one ship now, so why group up your ships, divide your forces, keep out of range, and take whatever antagonizing shots you can. It's the tactic of the bully. They look like they're gonna throw a big left punch, but then it's their right hand that hits you, and it's not much of a wind-up, but it still leaves you bruised. TheMista licking some stones. Doesn't take much imagination to know that this stone will be formed into a new town center. Viper here enjoying a two-control group approach. They're more than one ship down too. You see 6 Hulks here. I'd say maybe they're not investing as much in the water, but there'll also be a town center behind too. Now Viper does have more ships left at home to defend, just in case. And they continue to extend their reach, perhaps farther than they should reasonably reach into the cookie jar. But here comes those backup ships. TheMista continues making docks to trespass on Poseidon's territory. More docks means more repairs, and you can hide boats in there too. 2 more Hulks for Viper. Another Hulk for Viper. Hit me again. It's 8 on 7. The winds favor Viper, but only literally, figuratively speaking, as in the figure 8 is greater than 7. McScout's enjoying their spot. Get a campfire going, toast some marshmallows. Made from a mallow plant invented before Jesus was even invented by the Egyptians. The French actually wouldn't get marshmallows until the 1800s, so I guess McScout wouldn't be able to enjoy one right now. However, if he waits a few hundred years, divine taste shall bless their tongue. We're on our way to the 12-minute mark, and the water phase still feels like it's in its infancy. Mr. Second Town Center dedicated gold. The Viper not undertaking this task. So this is where the timeline branches out. Will getting the town center early be the causation of a victory or defeat? This map, similar to Hill and Dale, this can be a long initial grind followed by an explosion of the martial and siege arts. TheMista continuing to produce more docks. The Scout trying everything that they can to stop this from happening. A bit of an overreaction from TheMista, don't you think? Now, I don't think you need every Hulk for a single Scout. This dock, built upon McScout's campfire, no longer shall they enjoy the warmth of the fire unless they wish to be pummeled by 20 giant bolts of a ballista. Nobody wants to be penetrated that much. Mr. aggressively walling. And Viper's collecting stone, a second town center, and their castle age is on its way. I'm eager to heat things up, to burn that marshmallow on the fire. It's about time both Viper and Mr. experienced the unpleasantries of war. TheMista not currently advancing to the castle age, but will start it soon after Viper's finished. They just require a little more food. Naval combat in the castle age unlocks the galleass and the demolition ship. We have not seen a galleass at all in the EGC. It's more expensive than the Hulk, and there's all kinds of problems which just make it less optimal than the Hulk. You'll get more damage out of a Hulk when you micro them. Now I think we're on for a big naval battle. Starting with TheMista hitting the docks. Bolts tearing through the woodwork. How is Viper feeling about engaging this? The Viper doesn't have to commit, but TheMista is positioned in a way that if Viper fights, they'd have to sail through their attacks to retreat. This is rather reminiscent of what happened last time on Mountain Pass. Viper had visions of grandeur entering the castle age, but the tides of power seems to have shifted to TheMista. Let's not mistake fear for cunning. Viper is parading their hulks, firing, I think, more bolts than Mista. Who will lose the first vessel? It's the Mista, closely followed by one of Viper's. The Mista splitting their forces. Caution advised. Viper guns for one of the groups. Many red naval ships are out of range, and being in range is the essence of this sea battle. A ship not in range is a ship that does not exist. The Mista claiming the fog, but I don't think that helps them much here. If anything, it means Viper ends up automatically focusing whatever ship is not hidden, resulting in the loss of damage. Viper has 8 ships, Mista 6. Major victory for Viper, but they can't go out and celebrate. It's not oceanic domination just yet, though. I'm not declaring that. Mista can swing back, bulk up the hulks, find a demo ship. Oh no! Viper's insidious, incendiary roguishness kills another 2 ships and sets ablaze more. A devastating calamity has befell Mista. You can bet your butt cheeks that Viper is gonna move in and try and seize this opportunity. Mista huddling up their hulks like a cute nest of mice. Another demo ship awaits in the fog. And I like to think that Viper saw Mista was trying to use the fog a lot, and that they allowed that behavior, even encouraged it, knowing in the Castle Age that they would not fear the fog, but instead embrace it. Only that time it's fatal. Mista tries to do the same back, but they don't have that cunningness. It was very direct. They did inflict some damage, but not enough. Vipers extending their land economy, 3 town centers, and of course the guild hall we saw earlier. This mirrors what Mista has. Gold collection through the roof. There would definitely be benefit to getting those economic upgrades. Shinier picks, larger axes, better looking hoes. It's every worker's dream. Viper keeping an eye on the gate in and out of Mista's settlement, making sure their level of concern is at the appropriate level it should be. Naval repairs underway for Viper. They didn't all in after all. There's more demo ships lingering around too. I think Mista might be more aware moving forward. Watching onwards. Oh, Mista is erecting a stone wall. Might they want to get some archers up here for a siege? Viper might want to elevate that concern to a tier above, from apprehensive to worrisome. Now Viper has 2 things to think about, 2 tasks for the kingdom to address. They still have to win the war on the sea, but also solve the problem on land. Even Mista is trying to hide demo ships in the fog now. In fact, scouting out with this one. They don't see each other. Well, that's gonna be a surprise for somebody. Hulk's knocking down the red wooden wall. Both French commanders do have knights on the field. Finally, swords will cross. The biggest threat here is that outpost has a ballista mounted inside. 60 damage every time that hits a knight. All Mista would have to do is kite around for a bit instead of standing their ground. Never mind, there are more knights. The villager can construct on the wall. A blessing. Viper now sending their knights ahead, perhaps thinking that they can't stop this, but they could stop any more villagers or other units moving into this area. But the Hulks have moved for the Mista, installing themselves along the coast, looking for shots and getting some. 2 on 2, an honorable clash of steel. The horses are waiting patiently whilst the knights do their thing. Whilst this goes on though, Vipers sailed around to strike at the fishing boats. A mistake for a Mista. They have abandoned their defensive positions, leaving themselves vulnerable. It's not just the Hulks here, but demo ships too. Oh, lordy lord. This one isn't detonating on the fishing ships. They have bigger targets in mind as Mista's naval force returns. The Mista tries to guide their own demo ships into the pack. Viper has spread out their ships to minimize damage from that. The downside here, this leaves them susceptible to saturated fire from Mista's Hulks. This naval victory goes to Mista this time. We're 1 for 1. I don't believe this has ever happened before. Usually one naval battle decides it all. Looks like Chapter 3, the Emperor Brines Tonight, is about to start. The Mista doesn't want it, but they're sure as 7 seas of hell gonna get it. Interesting outpost up here. I think Mista just wants to know any transport ship's location. The Viper has 1 less Hulk, all in great condition though. It's the demo ships that are the plan. 3 more demo ships. Red demo ship to intercept. I cannot say if that was good enough. In another reality, ships have collisions and physics, and this would be collaterally brilliant. Repairs are active. I think that's enough for Mista to win this? At least militarily speaking, Mista's economy on water has been reduced, but will that matter? I just want to remind you of the benefits of conquering the sea. When you have a chamber of commerce, that 30% trade benefit. We have lots of castles going up for the Viper now. 10 trade ships on Baldur's Bay is nearing 700 wood a minute and easily over 1,000 gold per minute with a chamber of commerce. At least if you position your home dock roughly around where Viper and Mista could safely place them. The further away the home dock is, the greater the trade value. The Viper strikes again. And we almost have a situation where everything is reduced to nothing. A couple more demo ships. And they will manage to sink 2 more Hulks. There is only 1 Hulk left in the Mista's docks. A red castle constructed just outside Viper's base. You can wave to Viper's Red Palace from here, their Imperial Age defensive landmark. A sieging ground is forming, but siege equipment is required for such an endeavor. Well, the Mista is choosing the Royal College of Ultimate Hyper Mega Revolutionary Artillery. You won't get any finer artillery. Ooh, I wonder if Mista's going to trade here. Odd spot for a dock. Has a short, easily traversable path to that neutral marketplace. I don't think this would be worth it unless they have depleted access to other resources, which it's too soon for that. Now, the Imperial Age often brings about contraptions which pack a punch. Enough to crumble castles in little time at all. Here come those cannons. Open wide and breathe the gunpowder. That's what Grandma used to say. Ogre of a woman. Mista sailing their 1 Hulk to harass some fishing boats. Only 3 may occupy. 1 must die. Ooh, Mista destroying their own wooden palisades. Deja vu, sending their knights to burn down an outpost, granting the cannons their long-range vision. That plan is abandoned. Of course, when you stare a cannon in the eyes, you only see death. Viper is slowly stripping down the layers of Mista's siege material. And a moment of silence, of peace. I had forgotten how the world once was. How tranquil an empire could be. Without this serenity, it wouldn't be possible to fuel wars. Let's take a look at the income per minute. As the longer the match goes on and the deeper we dive into the Imperial Age, it becomes harder to see what state our competitors are in economically. The Viper lacking largely in gold assets. Not making up for it elsewhere. Yes, gold is important. Without it, you cannot pay your knights or remote control operators for spring elds and cannons. We also have the French influence in play. Archery ranges and stables in the vicinity of a keep have the cost of units reduced by 20%. So it's doubly good for Viper to eliminate this keep, not just getting rid of a defensive structure, but removing the cost reduction too. Villagers desperately catching the masonry and reassembling the keep. Such legendary skills on display, and nobody cares because they're not warriors. Mista has a culverin, a siege sniper. It's very far forward without much covering it. Spring elves roll up and dismiss it easily. Again, it's looking very slow, but Viper is creeping forward. Inch by inch. The villagers now in range of danger. Viper dropping a castle of their own as horses hit spears. Viper might have the counter, but they lack the numbers. There's also a few hand cannoneers for Mista. Some say the strongest unit in the game, at least in terms of damage output. As the Mista's castle becomes a historical site, blue villagers jump inside the new keep, taking up a bow to fire upon the knights down below. Mista constructing a new keep. Welcome to the Keep Wars. Winner keeps all. If they want to keep this one alive, they'll need to keep their anti-siege equipment alive. This keep isn't building all that quickly. It might not even go up as spears charge towards the workers. Lazy hand cannons standing idly around in the bottom left. Clearly the Mista throwing all this gold around hasn't created the most loyal of soldiers. Nevertheless, they do begin firing now. And we have a cannon making its way through the streets in front of two spring elves. I'm sure Mista's disappointment is immeasurable, but their day is all but ruined. Viper still has to crawl a long way before they get to the heart of it all. Though maybe rolling is more accurate to say, considering spring elves seem to make up the majority of their force. The encampment atop the hill turning to ash and cinder. Certainly a site of remarkable prominence, where a few hundred years in the future, a stone marking this battle will be found. The year etched into its smooth, shiny surface for all visitors to see, for a £5 entrance fee. Then you'll have wished you went to the Tank Museum instead. Oh, Viper constructing a tower. It's like raising a flag. No, not that one. A victorious one. Something's happening on the water. Mista sending their fishing boats on an expedition. I can only imagine something is going off at home. The fishing boats will, of course, be destroyed by the Hulk. My God, it's a Carrack! The biggest, baddest ship one can build, or even imagine. It shoots 3 cannons on both sides. Massive thick sails for capturing the most beautiful of winds. And a V8 engine, probably. I had forgotten all about the water during land battle, and both Mista and Viper were certainly concentrating on the land. The ocean is seemingly still up for grabs, but the value of it, if you aren't trading, is small. You have to go further and further out to fish, so the returns diminish the more you fish, unlike farms. And we have plenty of them all over the place. Double blacksmith getting those final ranged upgrades, and yep, lacking ranged units Viper is. Crossbows would certainly be handy against so many knights. breezing past the Mista's prosperity briefly, and we see the same sight, a sprawling empire, but very few production buildings here. All the military buildings were, of course, localized as close to the front lines as possible. This is one of those games where 200 population cap, it's too small. I'm just seeing how biased this market is with these trees and cliff positions. Wow, map generation. But it's fortunate we don't have trading go on, but we do have some ship combat with Carracks. Finally getting to see them in action. Now they work functionally the same as a Hulk. Cannons do hit harder, and there's also an upgrade that affects cannons only for even more damage. Those ships have 1,400 health too. That's the same health as 20 rank 1 spearmen. Hulk facing off against a Carrack. It's the demo ship that the captain needs to steer into line of fire. Another Carrack arriving on the scene. Help a ship out, would you? Oh, that's not how we treat our sister ships on the sea. The Viper still being creepy, and it's an odd sight to see only spring elves attacking and nobody caring right now. Not too far away from here, a gathering of villagers on gold, so we must be running low, which means we have trade ships from TheMista, you beautiful beast. If I was capable of shedding tears, I would, but my programming simply won't allow. 140 gold, 70 wood, not bad. Another Carrack lost. Darn it! TheMista is struggling to keep on top of dealing with these demo ships, but at the same time, every ship on the sea is costing a large amount of population. They need an army on the land, and the only saving grace is that if they had an army not comprised of knights, they'd do amazing right now. Viper is rolling in with the cheapest unit one can buy. Its only refining feature is that it's good against cavalry. TheMista responding with cavalry. Perhaps learning from Zap Brannigan. If the spears have a preset kill limit, then sending wave after wave of knights will eventually work. The keep they reside near will be the next target for demolition. If Mr. charges out, the spears will surely move in to block the advance with their bodies. Any soldier that falls likely to be instantly replenished, as we are at the maximum population cap. Vipers over 6,000 food, low on gold though, might explain why we have so many spears. Here we go! TheMista trying to navigate around the spears, an immensely difficult task. Backing up the heavy cavalry is hand cannons. A crack squad of elite gunners that will shred those spears, even in few numbers. It seems as if the cannon is the target saved for last. Heavy cavalry storming on ahead. A mighty victory for Mista. For Viper, their defeat can be attributed to many things. If they truly want to attack this with a hard counter of spears, the population cap is limiting them. 40 spears versus 40 knights. Knights win. You need to be 2 to 3 spears for every knight on the field. Spears are also weak to ranged. TheMista continues to kick things up a notch. There's a blob of red on Viper's land. Mista's approaching from the front, encroaching from behind. It's intriguing, but my confidence wavers here. Fighting on 2 battlefronts with limited population? Is it possible? A lone knight galloping. What is their agenda? Spears will pass them. I think that's because the focus is elsewhere for our commanders. Combat still occurring around the central sacred site. A burial ground for many and many more. Mista focusing entirely on food and wood with their villagers whilst their boats handle the gold. Mista does not have enough trade ships to continue doing what they are doing. As for Viper, they'll have a gold advantage, but how long until that ends? Until those veins deplete? The stats say they are close in resource gathering, really a testament to how decent trade ships can be. But if your army is comprised of units that require a lot of gold, you're going to need more gold. Aha, Viper! No longer lugubrious because they've got arbaletiers. Crossbows augmented with fire. Of all elements one could choose, it would have to be the one which hurts the most. Sound the tuba of red retreater, enemies bearers ill will. Is the Mista about to give up more ground? We're almost outside their own walls. There's still this ongoing incursion. With no siege, they'll have to inflict damage of a villager nature. Now, they could make siege here. There is a siege workshop, the cavalry riding out the guards on duty, lacking in both perception and diligence. The knights fan out. The villagers look to find a place to rest their heads for the night. There's plenty of rooms at any of the inns. There's one on every street. The Mista will have to keep the villagers indoors, locked away at all times, though Viper does have considerable stockpiles, over 7,000 food, 4,000 wood, 2,500 euros. The Mista, on the other hand, wish they could exude that much opulence. What they've got is a total facade. Just over 1,000 food, gold stores depleted, some bloody investment banker lost it all, traded it all for stone. I don't know. But it's not looking good for them, that's for sure. This is a grand example of why this game needs spies, so you can peek into the stores of your opponent. The Mista has no way of knowing what's in the bank for Viper, what's in the silos. Actually, do you remember silos in Command & Conquer Tiberian Sun? Yeah! Maybe if we could just see some grain and wood dotted about the place, though Viper would be swimming in the stuff. You'd have to make a transport ship to sail through it. They got so much yummy money. These knights are throwing their lives away. The woodcutters will cut all the wood they can before the grave. They do have protection, but back to the front lines we go. Production buildings are being turned to dust. A slow process turning this all into debris, but Viper is committed to turning everything to rubble. They are quite antiquarian that way, a traditional style of victory, unlike the methods we usually see to achieve victory. Total elimination feels almost lethargic. It takes so much effort, but I don't see any other option at this stage in the game. The Mista can't ride out into death, and yet they must do at some point, otherwise they can't produce new units. You just have to pray to your horse god, give them their last sugar cube, followed by a short canter to heaven. It's the best thing I can think of that the Mista can do right now. The away team seems to have ceased activity, all silent here. The Viper has also claimed a sacred site. The gold that generates, very welcome. Here comes the Mista with their attack. Heavy cavalry ride around to encircle the ranged. Hand cannons hitting whatever is closest. The knights that attacked the crossbows already removed from reality at the press of a few fingertips. But regardless, it seems like this reckless assault has pushed Viper back. But they keep their crossbows intact. The hand cannoneers are so significant, absolutely vital for the Mista. They do decent damage to siege and okay damage to buildings. Viper takes position behind the two outposts. Mista is in fact gunning for this. Now that they've got some momentum, they shall not squander it. I think they'll be fine so long as they just keep their hand cannons alive and keep amassing them. Viper's spearmen that were on home defense are running to this front line now. They are no longer required to fend off that military operation that TheMista launched previously. Spring Elves around the sacred site taking max range shots into those knights. The first outpost is destroyed. It took a while. Now, I'm not sure if they can do the second one without risking it all. Remember, Viper's stores are all but depleted. The same does not hold true for Mista. Reinforcements have arrived, bringing two giant cannons as well. The Blue Army reinvigorating their status as a scourge to the Redlands. Viper getting up close with their crossbows, the hand cannons getting targeted. A small stream of light cavalry enter the battle for Mista. It's doubtful they'll live very long. That's a sign of a lack of gold. The equipment they have is inadequate. The white flag is raised. Western France of Red is defeated. Let the scribes denote another victory marked upon the Viper. A 40-minute battle, an eventful end. The bards will be able to sing a tale about that one. It isn't over yet, though. This was just match 4 of a best of 7. Well done for sticking with us so far. Go get your grubby hands on a reward, perhaps a pie or a milkshake ought to be enough to get you through the next match. My name's Anuki. I'll see you very soon.